KT McFarland, now former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Trump during his first term. KT, it's wonderful to see you. Here's what the Wall Street Journal wrote yesterday about this series of raids. They write, they won't alter the course of the war, but they do show the ability of Ukraine to strike far from its border with Russia. The intelligence required to pull off the operation, supposedly in the planning for 18 months, is also reason for the Kremlin to be discomfited. Did Ukraine have some Russian help? What do you make of the insinuation there that these drone attacks are evidence that some of Putin's own military and intelligence personnel maybe are turning on him?
He's got to be nervous because what this attack has shown, and it was just brilliant by the Ukrainians, unprecedented, brilliant, very effective. But what it shows is how incompetent the Russian military is. And in an odd way, this makes peace agreements or peace talks far less likely than they were even 48 hours ago. Why? Because on one hand, Ukraine is thinking, whoa, you know, we're pretty good at this. We want to keep going. And on the other hand, Vladimir Putin's got to be thinking to himself, okay, I thought I was going to have a great summer offensive to get back territory, that I'll be in a really strong position to negotiate or to even keep fighting. But Putin's got to be a little nervous now about his own longevity, because if he goes to a negotiating table, Jillian, and he looks like he's making any concessions, his own people are going to say, well, what's this war been about? To give up, this is not good. So I think Putin's got to worry about whether he's got problems at home, which will really preclude his ability to do any kind of negotiating.
I mean, to that point, the reality is that Russia has spent probably more than 2 years in this thing than they had planned on. They have lost tens of thousands of lives, more than they had counted on, spent billions of dollars more. At what point does Putin really need to account for the fact that he's just feeding lives into this grist mill that he has created?
You know, despite it, all the things you said are absolutely correct. But popular opinion in Russia is actually in favor of continuing the war, of getting Ukraine back. Why? Because the economy in Russia hasn't suffered, mostly because of Biden's energy policies. Russia still has fairly high reserves from oil prices being high and the oil that they've sold, even illegally that they sold. And also because Putin's drawn the population, he's not drawn from the middle class in the cities or the educated people or the elites. He's drawn his cannon fodder, if you will, from the rural areas. So it's not really
and North Korea,
in Moscow Central. And North Korea, and who knows what the Chinese are doing. So I think that all of a sudden the incentives for Putin are to keep fighting. Why? Because if he stops fighting, he might be in big trouble at home. The big decision now is going to be Donald Trump's. It's going to land on his desk. What is he going to do? Is he going to impose crippling economic sanctions on Russia to really devastate their economy, to force Putin to have an agreement? Or is he going to look at Ukraine and say, look, you guys don't want peace either. I'm going to pull back, I'm going to withhold, or I'm not going to resupply Ukraine. So really the major decision maker is going to be Donald Trump.
What would you like to see him do?
Wow, it's a really tough one. You know, nobody wants to reward Russia for what they've done. Everyone is thinking Ukraine has done so well, but on the other hand, this war could continue on and on. And as President Trump has said, he's a man of peace, and he really hates the loss and the futility of war. So I think he's got to thread that needle very carefully. Can he use economic sanctions on Russia to bring him to the negotiating table? Can he use pressure on Zelensky to bring him to the negotiating table? Can he broker a deal where each side can walk away claiming victory, but at least the war stops? I don't know. It's going to test Donald Trump's deal-making abilities to the extreme.
Does it surprise you, real quick, KT, before I have to let you go, in the last couple of weeks to see President Trump expressing surprise at Putin? At one point, he even said he felt betrayed by him.
Yeah, I think he's frustrated. He thought that Putin would respond to economic pressure, which Trump can put on. And Putin somehow seems to want to go for broke. So you might have a situation where neither side really wants to settle. Both sides want to keep fighting.
All right, KT McFarland, great to talk to you as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.